Hey guys, this is Dan with Trapping the Ozarks, and today, is it cold out today? Funny, from the weekend it was in the 60s to today it's 23 for a high or something like that. It's 11 tonight or something, snow on the ground. 40-degree drop in one day. I guess that's that time of year again. So, alright, so it's a perfect day to be inside. My shop is quite warm. It's 59, 60 degrees in my shop without any heat in here, so that's pretty good, and I'm pretty happy with that. So let's talk about a new topic that we've never really discussed before, and that is blocking. And I really got into this topic earlier this week with a couple guys that I know. One of them I helped last year get out on the trap line, caught his first 2 ever coyotes, caught some raccoons and possums and things like that in the past, but never caught any canines, so he was pretty happy about that. And we started talking about blocking. And for those of you that I'm sure most of you know what blocking is when I'm referring to that, but blocking is basically things that you put around your trap, the curtilage of your trap, which is what I refer to it as, which is basically everything that's in the front of your dirt hole, the front side of where your flat set is or whatever, to try to force that animal to step on your pan. So that can be a variety of things that people use to block and to force them to step in a certain area. So let's talk a little bit about blocking today. So first and foremost, most people when they talk about blocking want to talk about coyotes and how do you block coyotes and how do you get them to step where you want them to step in. And really over the years I've come up with 3 things that you can use that are somewhat successful when it comes to blocking coyotes. The first is just don't block them. And that's probably how I trap the most. Most of the time I'm either blending the set in completely like a flat set or even a dirt hole set, or sometimes I'll make the dirt hole set look like an explosion took place and all kinds of stuff's been going on there. There's goods and there's bads, pros and cons of each one of those types of things. But regardless which way you want to go, I'll just not block it at all. I'll just leave it pretty much wide open, and if I have a deep enough dirt hole or a good enough flat set, I'm figuring that coyote is going to keep his feet active and be moving around. They're so skittish anyway. They're going to circle, they're going to come in from the back, they're going to come in from the side, and as I keep moving around, eventually he's going to put his foot where he shouldn't, and I'm going to have him. So the first thing is I just don't block him at all. If you're gonna block them, then the next thing I'll probably use most of the time, if I have it, is scat. You can use coyote scat, or even fox scat, or even bobcat scat if that's what you have. Whatever kind of scat you have, and put it in an area that you're going to force that cow to either go right or go left. And when he does so, it's going to help line up his feet with the pan of your trap. I find this works pretty well. Plus it's another attractant, not only visual, but it's just another smell attractant. So if you can do scat, scat is perfect. That is great. If you don't have scat, you can substitute like mud clods or dirt clods, and they cannot be very big. They want to be about the size of a scat, maybe the size of a quarter, or maybe half of a silver dollar, and not more than, a ½ inch tall or something. And you're going to put 2 or 3 of those, kind of like you would a piece of scat, and you're going to force that animal to try to move just a little bit so he doesn't want to step on those clods of dirt or mud. So that is the second option if I don't have any scat. The third option is to use sticks. And by sticks, I don't mean lay sticks down horizontally all around your set and force him to walk into a thing. I don't think coyotes like that. I've not been overly successful with that over the years. And that's one of the things that I keep in my spreadsheet of basically, do I block this, do I not, whatever, and which blocking do I use. And I've seen over the years that coyotes don't seem to like that. The more you try to pressure them, the more you try to force them, the more skittish they get and the more suspicious they are, and they'll just walk away from it, where a fox or a bobcat won't. So when I do use sticks, I do it in a certain way. And so I made a little drawing here, and do not make fun of my drawings, okay? I'm not an artist. So, but here is my trap. You've got the jaws, you got the pan, you got the dog, and you got the levers. So if I'm going to use sticks, I'm going to use them horizontally. In other words, they're going to be straight up and down. They're going to be about the size of a pencil and maybe about 4 inches in total length, maybe 5, something like that. And I'm going to put one stick right over here, and I'm going to put one stick right over here. And what that is going to do is on the outside of my jaws, I'm just going to stick them down into the ground right up against the jaw. So they're going to be sticking out like this, right up against the jaw, and a couple inches down in there and then a couple inches above. And then once I sift all the trap in, you're going to have about 2 inches sticking up above the jaw, and it's going to kind of put a little barrier here that he's not going to want to step on. Animals do not want to step on sticks that are sticking out of the ground, might hurt their paw, might be a thorn, whatever. They've learned that, so they don't do that. You can also put one right here in front of the dog if you want. Bark June does this all the time, and he's obviously pretty successful when it comes to catching coyotes. So you can actually use 3 if you want. I use for sure these 2. Sometimes I'll put one in front of the dog, sometimes I won't, but for sure these 2. And then that'll kind of help force that coyote to get his legs in a position that he can be more susceptible to stepping on your trap. So, and then I don't put anything out here in the front. I've seen some guys put stuff out here in the front. I don't like that. I want it to be as open as possible for that coyote, so nothing up here can skittish him, get him more weary than he already is. So I just put the sticks right here, and then that's it. So sticks, scat, maybe some dirt clods, or nothing. That's pretty much what I do for coyotes. Okay, so what about blocking cats? How are we going to block cats? If you see my cat videos in the past, you know that I like to put the trap 18 to 20 inches out in the front of whatever kind of visual attractant I'm using, or attractant, bait, dirt hole, whatever I'm using, wing. I want to get that out there, and then I'm going to build like a little chute with like a little cubby, and I'm not going to put logs laying down or rocks because they'll walk on top of that, so I'm going to use branches and cedar tree boughs and things like that that are sticking up. It's going to force that cat to go down that chute to where I want him to go. But what about blocking the cat in around my trap? Just like with a coyote, I will use little sticks, but I'll use more of them. So I'll do this way, and this way. I'll put 3 sticks on this side, and I'll put another 3 sticks on this side. So I have 3 going down this side and 3 going down this side. The same pretty much principle as the coyotes, other than the sticks that I use are a little bit bigger and they're definitely taller. I want them to be about 8, 9, 10, 11 inches tall, and I want them to stick out. And the ones that I'm going to put on the right side, I'm actually going to have, instead of just being perfectly straight up and straight down, I want them to lean like this, and I want them to lean inside, which is going to force that cat toward the middle of my pan. Okay, so it's like this on the right side. The left side, I'll just put him straight up and straight down because cats are going to go to the right generally. So I want him to be forced like this, so it forces his body, forces his legs to go farther inside toward that trap pan. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And because they're tall, they're 10 inches tall, 9 inches tall, 11 inches tall, whatever. When that trap comes out of that bed, it's not going to catch the branches. It's not going to have any problem with that. It's just going to catch the cat. And then all the way down here and all the way down here is where I'm going to have the rest of my chute. It's going to take me up into where I want that cat to go. And this trap is sitting, 18 to 20 inches out in the front. So you're going to have the chute with all these cedar tree boughs or sticks or whatever I'm going to have that he can't get through. And then the front's going to be open because I want him to be able to just see that chute visually and just shoot right on through there and not be bothered by anything else except for these sticks that are kind of crowding him because of the angle toward the middle, and then it'll naturally force him into this into this pan. So that's really the main way that I block cats. But cats can easily be blocked. I mean, we do it all the time. People snare them. People do body grips with them. I mean, they go into live traps. They can be blocked. But for me, since I pretty much just use footholds, this is how I will generally block them. What about fox? Red fox, I don't really target red fox because there's so few of them where I live. If I do catch them, I usually let them go. And red fox are going to be sharing that same habitat with a coyote. So I'm really after the coyotes. So I'm not going to block a fox just because I want the coyote first. And I think it was maybe Craig O'Gorman that said, if you really want to catch a fox, do you know how to catch a skunk? And if you know how to catch a skunk, you can catch a fox. End of fox trapping education, so to speak. So foxes are not hard to catch. They're super curious. They're even if they're skittish about something like a kid, they don't think anything of it, and they just go right in there. Gray foxes, on the other hand, I do catch. I don't target them, but I do catch them in a little bit more wooded areas that I have here, and I do have a lot more gray fox than red fox. They are different than red fox in that they are all over the place. They're kind of like a cross between a red fox and a bobcat, I think, in the way that they handle the set. They're not scared of anything, and they'll just come all over the place. They'll come in from the back, they'll come in from the side, they'll get up on a log, they'll get up on a rock. They're just all over the place, and they're so small-footed and have such a light foot, a dainty foot, that they'll step around all over the place. So if I have something that's constantly messing with my set, and I'm pretty sure it's a gray fox, I will try to block that in just so I can catch him and get rid of him so I can move on to catching whatever else is my primary target, which is usually a coyote or a cat. So I will block him in. And sometimes I will block him in very similar as the way that I do with a cat, to where I'll use the sticks on both sides of my trap, and I'll kind of try to force him into that middle area. Force him to go where I'm going to try to get him in there, where I have more of an opportunity for him to be moving those feet around and get him into that center part of my pan to where I can catch him. So you can block a gray fox fairly easily. And again, I just do it generally like I would a bobcat. I don't necessarily make a shoot, but I just try to box him in the front of my dirt hole or front of my flat set or whatever I'm going to do so I can increase my odds. Raccoons, of course, you can block a raccoon. I mean, you can catch them in a snare, you can catch them in a body grip, you can catch them, I mean, you can catch a raccoon anyway. So honestly, I've never blocked a raccoon. I've never necessarily targeted raccoons. Generally, I catch them incidental to other predators, but if I am targeting a raccoon for whatever reason because they're causing problems with nests and stuff, I just put in a bunch of dirt holes or dog proofs, and you got the raccoons. So, and I've never really had a hard time catching them. So I don't really block them, I guess, to make a long story short. So that's just some of the ideas that I do, some of the things that I have found to work with cats and with coyotes and with fox. If you have something else that you do that you like, definitely let me know in the comments below. And this is another great way to add to your spreadsheet. Put that in there somewhere of what you're doing with blocking. I usually will put that in the other category, the other box down there. I'll put blocking in there because I don't do it a lot of times, or I don't know, maybe 40% of the time, 30% of the time I'm using some kind of blocking. With cats I always do, but with other stuff it's just not that much. So if I do use it, I'll put it down in the other section, and then I'm able to look back and figure out, you know, does the blocking keep me from having activity? Does it keep me from having catches? What's the patterns that I'm looking for? So hope this helps, gives you a little bit more information about blocking, and be careful. And 3 more days till trapping season opens in the Ozarks. 3 more days. So guys, be careful. See you soon.